Welcome to the Today's Soapbox podcast. This episode accompanies the article A Tale of Two Supermen, originally published August 17th, 2025. I'll be reading the article as written in the web version with minor adjustments for the audio format. This podcast is sponsored by the Today's Soapbox website, which you can access at todays-soapbox.com. If you want to support the work I'm doing there to promote independent journalism, you can find details on the website on how to support with your engagement and money if you are willing. My name is S, and I'm the main writer for today's Soapbox. Actor and filmmaker Dean Cain, known for playing Clark Kent/Superman in Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman, announced that he will be joining U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, to be sworn in as an agent as soon as possible. Cain, a, quote, sworn deputy sheriff and reserve police officer, end quote, recently made headlines for his criticism of James Gunn's Superman, which hit theaters this summer. He criticized the film for changing beloved characters and said that it was a mistake to make it an immigrant narrative. Is this characterization of Superman really a departure from other depictions? Mark Waid, a comics writer for Superman for 4 decades, explained that the character has always been written as an immigrant. The story of Superman starts when Kal-El, an alien from the planet Krypton, is sent by his parents to Earth to escape from the planet's eventual destruction. He lands in Smallville, Kansas, where he is adopted and raised by the Kents and lives life in American society as Clark Kent. From the very beginning, Superman has been a refugee who is known as the champion of the oppressed. Andrea Ramos of the American Immigration Council writes, quote, Superman didn't just cross a border. He was launched off a dying planet. He's not just an immigrant. He's a refugee, and he carries all the grief, guilt, and quiet hope that comes with that title. End quote. Superman's origin mirrors that of his creators, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Both born to immigrants, Siegel and Shuster based many aspects of Superman on the stories, attributes, and physical appearances of themselves and the community around them. Superman's experience was informed by that of the original creators as second-generation immigrants. Gunn's 2025 adaptation stays faithful to the original character. Gunn sees Superman as a story of America and human kindness. In a climate of rising anti-immigrant and anti-refugee attitudes, he understood the film's message could be controversial, but on the whole, wanted it to be a human story focused on morality over politics. One of the specified conversations of the film includes the relationship between Clark Kent and his girlfriend, fellow reporter Lois Lane. Clark's perspective on morality and the taking of human life differs from Lois's, prompting discussions and thought about how these views can coexist or drive people apart. The film presents an immigrant narrative that is seen in Clark's passion for resolving border conflicts and promoting peace through international conflict resolution. Superman does not view migrants as something to be eradicated or stamped out. Samdeep Sen wrote for Al Jazeera, quote, It is now all but commonplace to imagine the figure of the migrant as a vessel for all things we fear and hate, end quote. Cain's support of ICE and criticism of Gunn's adaptation shows a fundamental misunderstanding of Superman. He promoted ICE using Superman imagery, including the theme song, and calling ICE the real true heroes. Political satirist John Oliver covered the issue of immigration enforcement on his show Last Week Tonight, directly criticizing Dean Cain for his support of ICE. Oliver went on to joke about Cain's declining career and how he didn't need to conceal his identity with a mask as an ICE agent because no one would recognize him anyway. This prompted Cain to respond, quote, He stole that mask joke from the internet, and he also laughed hysterically when Trump said he was going to run for president. Case closed, end quote. Gustavo Arellano, a columnist for the LA Times, says, quote, Superman used to tell Americans that immigrants deserved our empathy. Super Dean wants to round them up and ship them out, end quote. The contrast between Superman's values and those of Cain is further outlined by Arellano as he says, quote, Luthor's scheme, which involves manipulating social media and television networks to turn public opinion against his rival, eventually works. Superman turns himself in and is whisked away to a cell far away from the U.S. along with other political prisoners. Luthor boasts that constitutional rights don't apply to extraterrestrial organisms. Tweak that line a little bit and it could have come from the mouth of Stephen Miller, end quote. In Rex Hupke's sarcasm-laced USA Today article, he says, quote, The last thing I want to do is go to the movie theater and hear something that doesn't precisely conform to my worldview, even if it involves a superhero who, when he first appeared in a comic book in 1938 written by two men who were the sons of Jewish immigrants, was described as Superman, champion of the oppressed, the physical marvel who had sworn to devote his existence to helping those in need. End quote. This dissonance between what Dean Cain interprets as Superman's role in American society and the intended message of acceptance and morality exposes a conversation about what it means to, quote, go woke. The term woke, as used by Cain, comes from African American Vernacular English, or AAVE. It comes from the idea of being awake to injustices and social issues. The word has since been used in popular media as a pejorative used by the politically conservative to criticize progressives seen as performative activists or overly righteous. These ideas are not shared in a vacuum. Cain's support of ICE harms immigrant communities, directly contradicting the purpose of Superman as a character intended by his original creators. Nigel Dewara of Cal Matters says that deportation orders have left communities in Los Angeles empty, quiet, and on edge. Clark Kent was not born an American citizen. His story of being a refugee resonates today as the story of Superman continues to be told and reinvented by various creatives. Gunn's latest iteration and Cain's interpretation of its marketing highlight the continuing conversation about immigrant and refugee rights in the U.S. The American Civil Liberties Union, or ACLU, provides resources for immigrants to know their rights and express themselves in specific scenarios outlined on their website. These resources are also available in Spanish for anyone who finds their rights being threatened. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you in the next episode.